We got a big gap down in the market today, folks. You know what that means, right? We're going to get a little volatility. We're going to have ourselves a pizza party, right? So we closed up slightly weak on Friday. Now we're gapping down. The issue is going to be it's over a 2% gap. So we're going to suck out a lot of the range on the short side probably. We'll have to see like kind of how things play out at the open. Game plan for today is, right, if the market starts to show an ORB, so I'll be watching the QQQs, the SPY, TVIX. If the market starts to show ORB, meaning it's taking out its opening range, then, right, we'll go short city. If it doesn't, then we could have, right, a little bit of a chop day or something like that. So we'll have to be careful. One thing is, like, the market's been pretty resilient. So we had instances where we gap down, see on Friday, and then we just pop in and go red to green real quick. So we do have to be prepared for a potential gap fill also. So these are the trickiest days. When you are trending higher, you don't necessarily have to watch the market at all, right? But if you are more in a downtrend, or at least in short-term downtrend, intermediate flat trend, then you got to watch the market a lot more. So we'll be prepared to, if we see the ORB, we shred, because this one, if we get under this kind of 179, 180 zone, I think that's going to be, that takes us pretty much back to the 200 SMA, right? So we'll have to just be mindful of like the different levels over here. We still got a couple points before we're there. Now, it's very possible that, we just gap down and then we pop back into the 9 EMA and then roll back over. So, we've got a handful of things we can do. We can go in and do a 1, 2, 3 pattern to the upside, or, right, we can roll back over. You got to be prepared for all of the above because we're in a more of a news-driven environment. So, like, even though there's technicals involved, right, it's getting led by essentially pieces of news, and that's what's causing the gaps. And so we have to kind of trade around that. We'll keep a real simple list because if you look at like the gapper list, pretty much everything is gapping down like 4 or 5% because that's just what essentially the market is giving us, right? Like if you have a high beta name, it's going to move 2x to the market, give or take. So I think we keep all these China stocks on watch list. IQ Momo for potential shorts. NVIDIA had a really nice kind of fade off into the close, like a monster fade into the close on Friday. This is still like it's coming out of a bear flag over here. I think that we got probably more downside into this. The key on this is going to be the SMH. So the semiconductor index in general is coming back to the 200-day moving average, right? If it starts to bounce, a lot of these kind of like extended semiconductor stocks like SWKS or Cuervo, they may even rubber band a bounce because they are on day 3. So like I can't short something like this because you have gap here, gap here, gap here. Like what are the odds you get a 3rd day gap and you keep fading off? It's a lot trickier. What we'll need to do is keep an eye on SMH. If we start to see some type of pattern developing where these things start to bounce, and you don't even have to watch SMH, right? You can look at the individual stocks and you'll know if SMH is bouncing, right? One leads the other leads the other, hand in hand, cock to cock, balls to balls. That's just the way it goes. So you can watch an individual basket of stocks too, and it end up being kind of the same, same stuff. Keeping the video on, TVIX on watch list. You got a 20, level here, pre-market 24.50. This may just take off right at the open for a little bit. One thing with TVIX is that a lot of times it'll just ramp real hard the first candle, then it pulls back real hard. So don't marry this thing and don't get oversized in this thing. Sometimes like if you're trading, say, 1,000 shares of stuff and you start rolling, that same type of thing in a leveraged type of ETF, really it's like having 2,000 shares, right? You end up with like a little bit extra juice. And so you can lose just as quickly as you win. And as we all know, losers are always bigger than winners in general. So, size properly on something like this. But this is another one that you'll have to watch, for a type, very, very, you have to be very, very specific and intentional on this because like a lot of times it does gap up like this and then you'll see it just go, and like you'll see like setups in it, the other day, same type of deal, right? Like it kind of gapped up a little bit. Then they actually pulled back to 9. You even got a green candle to hold, and then it just goes, right? And so that's like, man, that makes it untrustworthy. If you can't handle, right? If you can't handle the gaps, we can't trust you. So it's never like a linear thing. You see, like on this next day, like it just gaps up and then pulls back hard, right? So it pulls back like $2 and then goes, but it don't, you know, the pop only lasted for 3 candles and then it pulled back and then, right? So it's not a linear kind of thing where you just like, it's very rarely you just take off and just bust loose at the open. It can happen. We've seen it, but we got to be a little bit more careful. So I like this one only on pullbacks. You know, this PDD is getting dusted on earnings already. This is a Chinese stock too. I think that this one, you've got like kind of a nice base here. It typically has like really good range, at least when it was moving. It had a good range. So I think this one can give us like a nice little potential short for an ORB or something like that. Remember Baidu, right? We were trading this on Friday. Man, Baidu, you know, had like a little bit of a play at the open, but it faded off hard into the close. These things are getting dusted. You know, you see from like the pop into really down here, right? It's like a $7-8 range. I think that this one should give us what we need. Now, on the other side, like let's just grab some longs because there's a good shot, right, that the market itself just bounces. It does sometimes, right? Roku was really, really strong on Friday. You had an incredible range, right, from 82 to 87, so it's $5-6, give or take, and it happened fast, right? Like this is one thing to remember is like if you get ever a pop like this too, every subsequent bounce you try is going to probably be a dud because it's used up, right, its daily ATR. Just something to be mindful of. I know like we like to play like little pullbacks to the 9 EMAs and stuff, but once the MA rolls and you've used up your range, like the rest of the day, it ends up being a dud. That's why, you know, we didn't kind of look at it in the middle of the day Friday, even though, you know, if you squint your eye, you're like, oh, that's a trend line. And then you're like, oh, that's a trend line. And oh, that's a trend line, right? I mean, if you look hard enough, you can draw a damn trend line anywhere you want to look, right? But the issue is, right, does it actually have the ability to do what you want? But it's still really strong. You're kind of busted out of that flag. I think that this one, man, if the market goes, keep an eye on this one. I think this one will probably lead the way. Same thing with ZM. You know, now that we've IPO breakout, you know, over 80, we'll watch for kind of any weakness on this one. It gets gobbled up really quick. What happens when you have a day 1, day 2, day 3, you can't chase any strength on a day 4. Meaning like if it spikes up and you want to like try to hit a flag or something, that's not a good type of pattern to trade on something that's a day 4. On a day 4, you only want to hit it on the flushes, the rounding, the 1, 2, 3 patterns, but you got to hit it on weakness and then kind of sell into the strength. That's how you want to always play day 3s, day 4s versus day 1s and day 2s. This FSLY IPO was also really nice. You got actually some strength in the morning on this one. This one acted a lot better than that, you know, lame coffee one that we were looking at. So this is one of my faves for today. So Roku, ZM, FSLY are the faves on the long side. They're the only ones I'm really watching on the long side. Otherwise, we could just flip some of the ones that we're looking to short. And then, you know, keep a basket of these kind of tech names. SQ's right into the 9 EMA. This one looks like a rollover. Same thing with NVIDIA. We don't need to get even too cute with the rest of the stuff. So let's go do what we do. It's Money Monday. Hey, Len, how you doing? Denny, what's up? Hassan, how are you? Mr. Shoesmith, hello. Bragnesh, what's going on? Mr. Chrisman, what's going on? Mr. Roger, how you doing? What are you guys all watching? Give me your fave. Cool. LK, man, you OTLK. You know what? OTLK probably does have a little bit more. It might have a little bit more action in it, of course. Like, well, it does, right? It's already showing the action. So definitely probably one to keep on watch, long and short. Man, like you got some incredible range, man. If you can wake up long enough for that, if you can wake up early enough, you can have some fun pre-market trading some of these things. So good eye. Mar, what's up, baby? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Cool. Let's go and do what we gotta do, and we'll have ourselves a nice Monday. I think last week was fairly stress-free trading, so we'll try not to goof up today. Cool. Twilio also, hey, Mr. Mike. This is actually a really strong stock too, so watch the weakness on this one. I think that one's gonna have a chance. Let's hit it hard. Let's be fun. Let's be fast. You know the drill, guys.